Welcome to today's video on how the Amish manage to build houses faster than most modern construction crews. We'll take a fascinating look into their close-knit communities, hands-on craftsmanship, and centuries-old techniques that result in swift, high-quality home construction. From streamlined planning to innovative uses of available tools, the Amish approach challenges many assumptions about what it takes to build efficiently. Let's discover the hidden strengths behind their teamwork and how they achieve incredible results, all while staying rooted in time-honored traditions. Part 1. Cultural Roots and Collective Mindset. The Amish approach to house construction springs from a deep-seated tradition that values cooperation, efficient resource use, and strong community ties. Unlike modern contractors who often depend on an array of subcontractors and large teams governed by corporate structures, Amish builders function within a tight-knit community context. Their shared religious and cultural beliefs foster a sense of mutual responsibility that translates directly into every construction project. From a young age, individuals learn the importance of helping neighbors. As they grow older, this transforms into a highly organized workforce ready to raise a building with staggering speed. Although many Amish communities vary in their specific rules and traditions, they often share a foundational belief in humility and hard work. This viewpoint influences their preference for simpler floor plans and a more pragmatic design approach. Because elaborate ornamentation or unusual architectural forms can lead to drawn-out building schedules, most Amish homes are built with rectangular footprints, gable roofs, and straightforward internal layouts. These deliberate choices streamline everything from material sourcing to structural assembly. There's less time spent deliberating over extraneous features, allowing labor to focus on efficiently erecting walls and rooftops. Close communal networks also encourage advanced planning without the red tape of building permits that might slow a mainstream contractor. Although some Amish do adhere to certain local regulations, their ability to self-manage reduces back-and-forth approvals, ensuring that a project can begin swiftly once all community members agree on specifications. Because these settlements are often self-governing, they create their own procedural standards, effectively minimizing bureaucratic holdups. Where a modern construction crew might need formal design revisions or official engineering stamps, the Amish rely on time-tested templates refined over generations, granting them the capability to go from blueprint to foundation, pouring with minimal delay. In addition, many families and Amish communities see construction as a social event that ties neighbors together. This phenomenon is particularly visible during barn raisings, but similar principles apply when assembling houses. The day of the build begins early, with dozens, sometimes hundreds, of volunteers ready to handle different tasks. Each person is assigned roles that fit their abilities. Older, experienced carpenters measure and cut beams, while younger helpers move lumber or hold frames in position. Meals are typically prepared by other members of the community who aren't directly working on the building, ensuring nobody leaves the site for food breaks. This high level of coordination takes shape because every contributor understands the collective benefit. Once the house is finished, a family gains a vital resource, and the entire community's stability is enhanced. Such synergy also surfaces in how Amish families plan for expansions. Rather than constructing a massive structure that might remain partially unused for years, they build with modular concepts in mind, adding space as necessary. If a family grows, or if a married child decides to remain on the land, a new wing can be added relatively quickly. By simplifying the base plan to a rectangular or L-shaped layout, expansions can attach naturally without compromising the integrity of the original framework. This incremental building strategy matches the Amish emphasis on sustainability and family cohesion. Furthermore, A collective mindset ensures that everyone involved remains motivated. Since the Amish follow a principle of mutual aid, there's a natural urgency to complete tasks efficiently, allowing people to return to their other responsibilities: farming, running small businesses, or caring for livestock. Wasted time on a job site represents lost labor in other essential domains, so the community invests concentrated effort into avoiding delays. Contrast this with typical construction projects, which can be stalled by individual scheduling conflicts among subcontractors. For the Amish, each participant is part of a tight circle, so if a complication arises, they address it swiftly, mindful that prolonged downtime disrupts communal harmony. Moreover, these shared values lead to a minimalistic use of technology. While certain Amish builders do use diesel generators to power air compressors and even limited electric tools, many communities remain cautious about adopting devices that could erode their spiritual values. This selective approach to modern equipment means laborers are adept at mixing old-fashioned hand craftsmanship with modest mechanical assistance. Their willingness to embrace certain off-grid machinery, like battery or pneumatic-powered nailers, helps boost efficiency without the complexities of hooking into public utilities. And because they use these tools communally, the cost and maintenance are spread across multiple families, reducing the overhead that might otherwise slow down a single contractor. Ultimately, the cultural roots and collective mindset unify the community around a singular purpose: to get the house built swiftly while upholding long-standing traditions of cooperation and humility. Part 2: Planning, Material Strategies, and Site Readiness. Swift construction hinges on thorough planning, especially since most Amish communities have large families that rely on promptly completed structures. Instead of complicated architectural documents full of decorative elements, they focus on a practical blueprint that covers only what's necessary for a sturdy and functional home. This decisive design choice streamlines construction in several ways. First, the lack of excessive flourishes shortens the drafting phase. Second, the simplified plan reduces guesswork for volunteers on the build day. Clear, straightforward designs require fewer specialty tools, fewer complex angles, and less time spent double-checking intricate features. Just as critical as the blueprint itself is the community's approach to material acquisition. Because the Amish typically live in rural locales, they cultivate close relationships with local lumber yards, sawmills, and hardware shops, often run by fellow Amish or like-minded people. This localized supply chain means there are fewer logistical delays than a builder who might wait on deliveries from distant suppliers. Lumber can be cut to the project's specifications well in advance, and consistent communication with the sawmill ensures that any shortfall can be remedied quickly. In communities that adhere to more traditional practices, the timber might even come directly from local forests, where it's milled by neighbors who understand the precise needs of the build. To expedite site readiness, Amish families usually coordinate clearing land, digging foundations, and preparing utilities to the extent that they use them before large-scale labor arrives. Some Amish do integrate basics like running water or propane lines, and these are typically handled by tradespeople within the community who specialize in plumbing or gas fitting. Since these tradespeople often live next door, scheduling them for a project is far simpler than the modern practice of calling multiple external subcontractors. As a result, the foundation and utility lines can be set up swiftly with minimal wait times. When it's finally time for the main construction day, materials are neatly sorted and staged around the build site. Lumber is cut to roughly the correct dimensions. Roofing materials are stacked conveniently, and essential hardware, nails, bolts, door hinges, is organized for swift distribution. This systematic arrangement significantly shortens the chaos that can plague a typical construction project. No one wastes time searching for a misplaced tool or piece of equipment because the entire community has played a part in preparing the site. The planning also encompasses the possibility of unexpected setbacks. If a storm threatens, the entire group can pivot quickly, covering partially erected walls with tarps or fastening roofs to a partial degree to prevent water damage. Because their social bonds are so strong, the Amish can mobilize a contingency plan without a drawn-out managerial process. Everyone on site already knows that preserving the collective work is paramount, and tasks such as bracing frames or relocating materials happen in an almost choreographed fashion. Interestingly, the Amish are not opposed to adopting certain technological aids if these do not conflict with their faith or communal guidelines. Some communities utilize gas-powered generators to run saws and drills, thereby speeding up cuts and minimizing manual labor. Others rely on older-style hydraulic equipment that can be attached to horses or small tractors for tasks like hauling large beams. This selective technology usage doesn't fundamentally alter their practice of communal labor. It merely reduces the physical strain involved. In adopting these devices, they balance traditional values with practical efficiency. Once the main construction is completed, final touches like interior walls, flooring, and cabinetry can be installed over subsequent days or weeks, again, using the same pool of helpers. Since everyone is accustomed to multitasking, families will often rotate between daily farm chores and finishing the interior details. This system ensures that essential living spaces, bedrooms, kitchens, communal areas, are ready in a remarkably short time frame, particularly when compared to modern projects of similar size. Additionally, there is an economic rationale behind these methods. The more people who help, the less need there is for external paid labor, keeping costs low and building momentum high. Because each family in the community may eventually require assistance, neighbors know that investing time in another's project will pay off when they themselves raise a barn or expand their home in the future. This reciprocal model effectively eliminates many scheduling headaches, labor shortages, or budget overruns that can plague a mainstream builder. Part 3: Specialized skills, continuous training, and adaptation. A significant factor in the Amish's rapid building process lies in their emphasis on skill cultivation. Children are introduced to basic carpentry and tool usage at young ages, helping older family members with simple tasks like handing nails or organizing materials. By their teenage years, many Amish youth possess a foundational competency in woodworking, measuring, and even rudimentary joinery. As they become adults, those with a particular aptitude for carpentry may apprentice under experienced craftsmen who are well-versed in advanced techniques such as mortise and tenon joints, structural calculations, and roofing geometry. This generational transfer of knowledge leads to an environment where a high percentage of community members can perform essential tasks. Rather than relying on a limited group of specialists, entire families bring relevant abilities to the build site. If an individual demonstrates a knack for plumbing, for instance, they might take charge of installing water systems in several houses over the course of a year, thus refining their expertise. Others may excel at cabinet making or stonemasonry. This self-sustaining training network enables each household to draw on a robust skill pool, pushing projects forward without the scheduling hassles that come from hiring external contractors. Meanwhile, adaptation to modern techniques occurs in a measured way. Certain Amish communities approve the use of technologies that simplify specific aspects of carpentry, such as laser levels or battery-powered drills, provided they can be recharged without connecting to a public electrical grid. diesel or gas generators can fill that gap. And because the Amish place value on thorough craftsmanship, these tools serve to improve accuracy and speed while honoring the principle of not overly depending on worldly systems. When they do incorporate new methods, like pre-cut framing kits or improved insulation materials, they do so after carefully weighing whether it aligns with their community's guidelines. This thoughtful approach allows them to keep pace with beneficial advancements while maintaining their cultural identity. Another dimension of specialized skill is the way Amish builders tailor structures to local environmental conditions. In colder climates, they might employ thicker insulation or double-layered wooden siding. In regions with heavy rainfall, roof angles are adjusted to facilitate quick water runoff, preventing rot or mold. Since the Amish primarily farm, they have extensive first-hand knowledge of weather patterns and how these patterns affect building longevity. Rather than relying on external data, they harness a collective memory that extends over multiple generations. That knowledge is then incorporated seamlessly into new projects, contributing to the swiftness of the overall process. If a certain roofing material proves resilient against harsh winters, the community swiftly adopts it as a new standard, integrating it into future builds without lengthy market research or corporate decision-making structures. In many communities, the notion of continuous improvement also plays a role. When a builder learns a more efficient method for framing walls or installing floorboards, that technique is shared informally through conversations at church gatherings, family dinners, or while working on neighboring farms. Over time, these incremental tweaks accumulate, further streamlining construction practices. One example might be advanced pegging methods or updated ways of bracing corner posts to reduce lateral movement. Each small refinement, spread by word of mouth and demonstrated in real time during barn raisings or other communal gatherings, raises the baseline standard. This organic evolution has allowed Amish building methods to remain competitive with modern construction practices in terms of speed, despite the external assumption that they eschew most technological progress. It's also noteworthy that the Amish sense of community extends to the post-build phase. Once a house is complete, minor issues or needed adjustments can be tackled almost immediately. If a door frame swells in humid weather, the local carpenter can address it without a formal appointment system. This ensures the dwelling remains in top condition, preventing small damages from escalating into major repairs down the road. Not only does this keep costs low, but it also simplifies potential expansions or modifications, which can then be integrated without major structural overhauls. Part 4. Structured teamwork, practical design, and comparative efficiency. The final pillar of rapid Amish construction is the strategic organization of on-site labor combined with practical architectural choices that eliminate many hurdles standard homebuilders face. While modern construction crews often rely on a chain of command, project managers, site supervisors, and subcontractor leads, the Amish streamline communication through direct face-to-face interactions. The person cutting beams can walk a few steps to discuss measurements with the individual responsible for framing walls. There's no need for extensive documentation or email chains, which accelerates every phase of the job. Because there is minimal downtime, an Amish building site can witness continuous progress. When volunteers arrive at dawn, they're able to start working immediately because all materials are in place, tasks are pre-assigned, and any small challenges are resolved by consulting the group on the spot. This stands in stark contrast to many modern sites where a subcontractor might sit idle awaiting another team's completion of foundational tasks. The Amish model relies heavily on the premise that each person does a specific job in a logical sequence, but also remains flexible enough to pivot if something unexpected occurs. Their practicality is also evident in how they outfit the interior. Rather than ordering elaborate finishes, Amish builders commonly use sturdy wood, simple moldings, and standard window shapes. By minimizing custom requests, they avoid supply chain snags that delay many contemporary construction projects. Those who prefer more detailed cabinetry or specialized decor can have it crafted by local artisans, often at a pace that aligns with the overall build schedule. Since those artisans often live within walking distance, the lines of communication remain open, ensuring any design concerns can be swiftly addressed before they balloon into major modifications. A beneficial outcome of this approach is the cost savings that come from circumventing multiple layers of distribution and paid labor. Where a modern home might involve numerous inspections, additional paperwork, and outsourced tasks, the Amish rely on well-established traditions and communal trust. This reduces overhead, and it also fosters a keen sense of personal responsibility. No one wants to be the reason a neighbor's house construction falters, so each craftsman strives for accuracy and speed. The culture of mutual aid creates a tangible sense of accountability that rivals or surpasses any formal contractual obligation in a standard construction arrangement. Comparing this model to modern construction often reveals that Amish builders can erect a fully functional dwelling in less time than it takes for a conventional crew to navigate preliminary paperwork, secure financing, gather subcontractor bids, and finalize design details. While the Amish home may appear simpler in outward aesthetics, it serves the needs of a large family and can be expanded upon with minimal fuss. When storms strike or when families grow, modifications are addressed by the same cohesive network that built the original structure. This cyclical process, planning, building, maintaining, and, if necessary, modifying, runs on collective effort and ensures longevity. Additionally, while mainstream builders can access advanced machinery and digital modeling, their projects often lose time due to bureaucratic oversight or the fragmentation of specialized roles. In the Amish community, roles are well-defined yet fluid enough to accommodate real-time collaboration. Even when a task calls for more advanced tools, the group's unity stands as a force multiplier. If a certain piece of equipment needs to be relocated or repaired, half a dozen volunteers can make it happen almost instantly. By weaving modern capabilities, like compressed air tools, with a tradition of hands-on craftsmanship, Amish crews sustain a work tempo that can leave observers astounded. Another point of interest is the Amish approach to site cleanup, which often happens concurrently with construction. While one group is raising roof trusses, another might be systematically collecting offcuts and nails for reuse or recycling. This parallel process means the area remains relatively clear, preventing hazards or bottlenecks. Once the house is standing, any leftover building materials are distributed to other ongoing projects or reserved for maintenance tasks. This resourcefulness underscores the Amish principle of stewardship, where unnecessary waste is carefully avoided. By the time the last board is nailed into place, the site is often ready for immediate occupancy. No extensive post-construction cleanup is required, a factor that trims additional days off the overall timeline. In comparing Amish house building speed to modern construction, it's crucial to acknowledge the cultural ecosystem that underpins this phenomenon. The Amish sense of collective harmony, efficient usage of time, selective adoption of technology, and reliance on practical designs all merge to make their building process extraordinarily fast. Each of these elements, whether it's planning out the job meticulously, sharing labor freely, or leveraging localized supply chains, challenges the assumption that modern projects with abundant technology should automatically finish sooner. In reality, the Amish show how a tightly coordinated community effort, guided by generations of construction knowledge, can surpass the tempo of many contemporary teams, often with fewer conflicts and a simpler overall method. By operating within an interdependent network of families and craftspeople, Amish communities replace the need for formal managerial hierarchies. Their approach focuses on achieving tangible results with minimal administrative overhead. This synergy, coupled with long-standing building traditions refined through hands-on experience, ensures that Amish house construction remains a striking example of how focus, unity, and skill can lead to homes built faster than many would think possible in today's world.